Cheap money. The greatest scam of the century? There are lies, repeated so often that people start believing them. There are policies, labeled as salvation, but in truth, they only delay collapse. There is a grand illusion that has lasted more than a decade. No gunshots, no riots, just invisible numbers. And one promise: cheap money will save everything. Yes, cheap money, low interest rates, was once hailed as a miracle cure. Print more, cut rates, stimulate demand, save businesses. A solution so simple. Everyone nodded in agreement. But after over 15 years of implementation in the US, Europe, the UK, Japan, and China, it's time to ask, did it really save anyone? Or have we just been living in a long illusion, waiting for the day we wake up? 1. What they told us about cheap money. They said, cheap money makes it easier for businesses to borrow, invest, and create jobs. Cheap money stimulates consumption and pulls the economy out of recession. Cheap money is the cure for all economic wounds. But after 15 years of unprecedented rate cuts and money printing, what was the real result? 2. The truth. Where did the money go? The money didn't flow into factories, agriculture, or real productive tech. It flowed into speculative markets. Stock prices soared. Real estate doubled and tripled. Crypto exploded, then crashed. Startups burned money, thriving on dreams instead of profits. The data confirms this. Labor productivity in developed countries has barely increased in the past decade, while asset prices have skyrocketed. The result? The rich, those who already owned assets, got richer. The working class, those who live on wages, were left behind. 3. The youth, a generation left behind. While markets celebrated on central bank money, the younger generation saw only debt, instability, and despair. Wages didn't rise, but everything else did. They can't buy a home. The future looks bleak. They no longer believe in this game. They don't want to buy houses. They don't want to marry. They don't want to have children. They're disengaging. From Japan to China, Europe to the US, young people are stepping away from the dream that the system sold them. Because they know cheap money wasn't meant for them. In the US alone, those under 40 own less than 3% of the nation's wealth, while those over 60 hold over 70%. Not because the young aren't trying, but because they were born into a world that had already been bought up. 4. Zombie companies and the fake economy. It doesn't end there. Cheap money kept zombie companies alive. According to the Bank for International Settlements, BIS, more than 15% of listed companies in developed economies are zombie firms, businesses that don't make enough profit to cover their interest payments. In a world of cheap money, inefficient companies survive. There's no pressure to innovate or improve. They consume capital, talent, and market share, choking out truly creative firms. The economy becomes a financial game where stock prices matter more than real productivity. An inflated economy without real development. 5. Cheap money, a false promise. Cheap money was once a promise. Lower the interest rate, print more money, and the system will heal. Markets will bounce back. People will spend. Businesses will grow. But that promise wasn't for everyone. It was for the giant corporations that could borrow cheaply to acquire more. For the financial elites who manipulated money flows. For governments buying time by borrowing more. And the people? They can't access low-interest loans like the banks. They can't buy assets like housing or stocks. They can't invest in anything when they're barely surviving at month's end. Cheap money didn't create prosperity. It created the illusion of prosperity. Asset prices rose. The data looked good. The news was optimistic. But underneath, society was rotting. Gig jobs, no security, low wages, high cost of living. A generation living on borrowed time, both figuratively and literally. And when interest rates rise again, the mask falls off. People who bought homes at 1% interest now face 7%. Startups that thrived on growth over profit collapse in waves. Asset bubbles burst, leaving behind debt, unemployment, and anxiety. Cheap money didn't save us. It just delayed the inevitable. And while we were lulled into a dream of low-interest equals paradise, our future was sold off to hedge funds and financial empires. 6. Wake up, or fade away. We can't print our way to wealth. We can't cut rates to escape spiritual decay, social inequality, and collapsing trust. Cheap money is morphine for a dying society. Numbing, paralyzing, delusional. The next step cannot be another shot of morphine. The next step must be to wake up. We must look directly at the debt, the injustice, the illusion of infinite growth. We must confront the painful truth. No monetary policy will save us. Only systemic change, fairness, and real sustainable development can save our future. If you believe this is the truth, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Not for the algorithm, not for views, but because somewhere out there someone is tired too. Someone is doubting. Someone is searching for answers. You are not alone. And it's time we stop being silent.